What's up, everybody? Welcome to another exciting episode of Jimmy's Jambox. I'm Jimmy, and this is the fourth video interview, the last one for the week, so y'all don't have to deal with it anymore. But this has been exciting, counting up to the end of it, and we've got a phenomenal guest. But let me go ahead and get the easy stuff out of the way. As always, if you like what you heard, you like what you're hearing, and you think you're gonna like what you're gonna hear next, hit that follow button, hit those 5 stars, like, subscribe. We're still doing this. I'm gonna figure it out next week. And yeah, super glad to have you here, and super excited for our guest.
Greetings, travelers. My name is Falling Alice. I don't know. I'm here. I'm super excited to be here.
Excited to have you. Why don't you go ahead and tell us a little bit about where you're from, what you do, give us that like Tinder profile of your involvement with music.
So yeah, I've been making music for, the last 15 years, probably more than 15 years. I've still got stuff posted on Reverb Nation from 2010. So we've been out here a long time.
Throwback.
Used to be a drummer for a long time, but then I got annoyed because I couldn't figure out a good way to mic my drums. So I then started producing around 2010. Started rapping because people just kind of saw me as that person who raps, which I don't know how that happened because I wasn't even really rapping. I rapped one time, and then enough people heard it and were like, "Oh my god, he's that rapper," and then. Suddenly, based on pure pressure, I was now forced to become the rapper, and then I realized, okay, I have to get good at this. So then I got very competitive because I don't like sports or anything, but I'm also extremely competitive. So I've decided, okay, I'm just going to be as competitive as possible with art.
Okay, and this is kind of a fun one we ask everybody early on, and spaced out on that one for a second. What was the first album you ever owned?
Okay, so I think the first... Shades off. Okay, I think the first album I ever bought... I can't remember the name of the album, but okay, there's 2. And I'm not sure which one was actually the first. I've been thinking about this a lot lately. Mm-hmm. One was that Franz Ferdinand album.
Okay.
With Take Me Out on it and that shit.
Yeah.
And then also the one Ting Tings album that ever existed, which is a horrible choice that was the first album I ever bought. But somehow, I played a lot of Ting Tings back in the day.
Okay.
I hate it.
Well, hey, somebody had to, right?
Somebody had to, and apparently that was me, and that's part of my backstory.
Hell yeah. Now, in the same vein of question, what was the first show you ever went to?
Cake.
Okay.
First show I ever went to was Cake back in probably 2011 at Edgefield.
Yeah, who were they playing with?
It was just them.
Oh, just them.
There was no opener.
Was that a 2.5 hour show?
It was long.
Holy shit.
And Cake's been my favorite band for a very long time.
I mean, understandably so. They're pretty solid.
I like Cake and I like Beck, and both of them have influenced the way I make music a bunch.
Yeah. And kind of speaking about that, do you remember the moment you decided you wanted to do music?
It's been my entire life.
Like the first moment?
The first moment. I mean, I was trying to form a band when I was 9, and pulled out a drum set out of the dumpster from the neighbors, stole it, started trying to drum. So back then was me being okay, I'm gonna do this. But even before then, I'm autistic, and as a kid, every time I would get into the car, all I'd do is I'd just rock back and forth, aggressively. There was literally, an indent in the car because I would just kind of, just go off and just keep beating my head into the car. And a lot of times, I'd just kind of, sing as I was doing that. And so, I don't know, I've got notebooks from elementary school where I'm just writing stuff. There's I found some pages the other day where it's writing sheet music. Because I didn't have a DAW back then, and I needed some way to record what I was doing. So I was trying to learn theory and be able to notate everything I wanted. But
well, hey, I mean that's clearly something you've been wanting to do for a while. Then why don't we go ahead and dive into some more of the artist-focused elements of these questions? What made you pick the name Falling Alice?
Okay, so for a long time, I was going by the White Rabbit, which I realized after a while, I was like, I need a name that's not the White Rabbit because every other fucking white rapper decided to go with the White Rabbit. So I'm like, we can't do that anymore. I decided Falling Alice as in Alice falling down the rabbit hole. And I want, like, I am Alice, and everyone is falling with me. And I'm bringing everyone on a magical journey.
Okay, well, that's cool. Now, go ahead and describe your writing process. Do you have like certain place or approach or like people you like to work with? How do you go about banging out a track?
The way I write, it always depends. So like if I'm writing like, because I make a lot of music. Not all of it's rap. I make a lot of weird like just avant-garde electronic shit all the time. And so like for a while when I was writing more emotional stuff, it was always really repetitive. But like, so when I'm writing something like super emotional, it's definitely not the same as when I'm writing something like super like technical. But like for like technical stuff, if it's just like me like showing off my writing ability, that's usually something I'll like take notes over the course of like months. And I'll just like have an idea in my brain and I'll like start trying to work out some kind of punchline or some kind of wordplay. And there's just like my entire phone is just filled with notes in the Notes app every day. Different things, and then I'll like cut them, paste them into other documents, edit them. So like a lot of my writing is just collecting and then editing.
Interesting. So you kind of, that's really cool how you kind of have like a pool of spots or things that you can pull from, and then you just kind of like
but also sometimes
piece them
like,
together.
Say when I made the track with him the other day, like that was
Machete Mike for those of y'all.
With Machete Mike. There he is. But yeah, no, say that track, like, typically, I like to make sure that, like, I spend a lot of time on the writing process, because for, like, the first 5 years of me trying to make music, I didn't like how I sounded, and I didn't like the way I was recording, so all I do is write.
Hey, for the record, though, that motherfucker killed that shit, by the way. Like, for real. His verse goes harder than mine does.
But, so yeah, like, say, like, for that track, Machete made me just, like, write in, like, 30 minutes, which was a nice exercise, because, I have a tendency to write over the period of months. So being forced to be in a room and be like, okay, you're doing this in 30 minutes, that was great. And so, like, sometimes I can do that. Other times, I'll just freestyle something. Like, there are a lot of songs I've made that I just, like, was making a beat, felt something in the moment, and recorded it.
Hell yeah.
So yeah, I have lots of different processes.
I mean, I think that there's strengths in both. You know what I mean? I don't think there's any like right or wrong, but I think the ability to do both is arguably the most capable aspect, because then you can have long-term stuff that you're sitting on that like you can really convey a message, and then you're also able to kind of like turn it on and work with the people when you need to. So
yeah, and it just depends on how I'm feeling, and it's got to feel right.
Yeah, no, totally. Now, out of your entire discography, what song do you think represents you best as an artist?
Such a dangerous question. It's hard to tell. I've been working, like, I've decided I need to have, like, an elevator pitch for myself, and the fact that, like, I don't have an elevator pitch for myself is kind of a problem, because it's like, okay, like, I'll meet someone, and they'll be like, hey, what do you do? And then I'll just go on a long rant about, like, trying to describe what I make, and then no one will know what I'm talking about. So, like a lot of my like real lyrical rap shit is like the stuff that like I feel like is like I'm proud of on a certain level, but also I feel like a lot of my weirder shit is what I really like. And I think probably the song that like blends everything together the best with my own production is the song Gangster Trip.
Okay.
That's my favorite too.
Oh, well, there we go.
Cause yeah, no, like I made that beat in like 10 minutes and then recorded it on my laptop mic. No mic, I was just on my laptop, and I just felt like I should record it, and it sounded good.
You know, hey, if it works, it works. I think that's kind of the, excuse me, running along today, y'all. If it works, it works. That's kind of the biggest part. Now, go ahead and tell us about either your most favorite or just like the wildest show you've ever performed at.
Okay, so yeah, this is cool. I don't know if you know who Slug Christ is.
I don't.
So yeah, no, back in high school, I used to listen to a lot of like underground rap from like Atlanta. And there was this rap collective, Awful Records. And for a long time, I liked them kind of ironically, but I also kind of liked them. And it was like Ethereal, Father, Slug Christ. Playboy Carti was somehow affiliated with them at one point, which is really weird because now Carti's like a superstar, and then Slug's still extremely like obscure and is just like this weird white art boy who makes really weird music, which at first you hear it and you're like, I don't know how like to take it.
Yeah.
But so like I used to be obsessed with them for a long time. And then I had an opportunity about a year ago, like last September. Someone was booking me, and they're like, do you want to open for Slug Christ? And I'm like, of course I do. And so, yeah, we played 228 Gallery, which now is defunct and does not exist anymore. And it was such a good experience.
Hell yeah. What was your most like memorable moment interacting with them?
So, yeah. So the first night before the show even happened, I went to the apartment that he was staying at. And so, like, I was trying to, like, I wanted to talk to him, but I also didn't want to be, like, a burden. So I just kind of hung out and just, like, sort of, like, listened and just, like, watched. And then the day actually happened. I showed up for the show. I showed up early before anybody else. Then he showed up with the person running the show, and he looked at me with, like, the face of recognition and was like, hey. And it felt really good. It's like, oh, shit. He knows that I'm supposed to be here. And then we played the show, and it was awesome. And at the end, I was trying to get him to be in my music video because I really wanted him to have a cameo.
Yeah.
And he agreed. And then, like, it was taking too long, and he had to leave. Then he's just like, here's my email. I will send you whatever you need. Just email me.
Nice.
So, yeah.
Hell yeah. I think it's always fun when you get to interact with people that you, like, enjoy the music of.
Yes,
and then like it ends up being a cool experience.
It's a weird experience because it's like I used to make fun of him, but I also really respect him. And it's just like many years of hit, like I don't know, I think in my life there are a lot of people who I view as like these weird memes of people that I like to study people. People are interesting.
Yeah.
And sometimes people are more interesting than others if they have a lot of just different clashing things about them. And he's one of those people who I've been very fascinated by. So just having the opportunity to, like, do that. And the fact that, like, the poster, there's only, like, his name, the other headliner, and then my name on the poster, plus the, like, the person who's running the show. So, like, I want to print that on T-shirts.
Yeah.
I tried at one point to print it on a shirt, but apparently the image was copyrighted, which was weird because I know the person who made the poster, and I don't think that they copyrighted the poster. So, no idea. But, like, I definitely want to at least print it off for my own usage.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Because the art's cool, but...
All right, now let's move on to some hypothetical questions.
Love it, let's do it.
If you could work with any one artist or member of a group or band that's currently alive, who would it be?
Del the Funky Homo Sapien.
Ooh, great choice. Great choice.
Yeah, no, Del has inspired me a bunch. Yeah, used to be really into Gorillaz. Still am really into Gorillaz.
Yeah.
Cause yeah, like my whole background is alternative rock pretty much. Like, I became interested in hip hop and electronic music, both the two genres that I really care about, through the alternative station.
Yeah.
And like every time they'd play anything that was like more electronic or more hip hop, I'd get really excited. And then, yeah, got really into Gorillaz, got really into Deltron. And, like, I don't really know, like, it's so hard to choose. But I feel like Del is someone I'd love to work with.
I mean, that would be a solid choice. Now, adversely, who is a local artist that you're aware of that you would want to work with that you haven't interacted with yet?
That's a hard question. I go to a lot of shows, but, like, a lot of people, like, I feel like a lot of the people that I want to work with, I'm at least in contact with. And there are a lot of, like, rappers or, like, just, like, there are a lot of people who, like, have a profile that I'm interested in, but also I don't really particularly, like, need to, like, work with them.
Although not a need, but who's somebody that you're aware of that you like what they do, and if you had the opportunity to, you wouldn't say no?
Okay, so someone who I don't know very well, but, like, I've met him, is the artist Dog.
Okay.
I think it's like Dog with like a bunch of G's. I remember, like, I saw him at like a basement show a couple years ago, and the thing that I really liked about him is he started off as a DJ set, and then he just started rapping, and he was making like super like lo-fi kind of weird avant-garde rap shit with like no drums, just like a lot of like ambient electronic production,
Yeah.
and just like interesting rhymes. And yeah, no, I love that because like when I saw him, it was like. No one expected he was going to start rapping. Everyone thought he was a DJ.
Yeah.
And he just, like, switched it. And I was like, yeah,
Hell yeah.
I'd love to work with him.
Well, Dog with multiple G's, if you're watching this, or if anybody knows said Dog with multiple G's, we'll put it on here somewhere. We'll figure that out after. Definitely let him know. Now, if you could play at any one place on the entire planet as a venue, like even if it isn't like physically supposed to be one, it could become one. Where would it be? And if you could have two supporting acts, who would they be?
So what, okay, like what I've been thinking about a lot lately, and like, I'm not going to go grand with this. I'm just going to go with like what's been already in my brain.
Yeah.
I really want to perform on a barge.
Okay.
I just keep looking at barges going by in like the Willamette, and I'm like, I feel like that'd be super easy to like somehow convince somebody who owns a barge to let me get onto their barge and throw a show that goes down the river.
I mean, they have a whole like electronic music cruises. There's no reason they couldn't have a barge renegade or like a barge house show equivalent.
Yes. And there's so many barges, and they all seem empty. And it's
there
like,
are quite a few.
Like, someone better let me do that.
All right. If somebody watching owns or knows somebody who owns a barge, we're making this happen.
Can we set it on fire?
I think for legal reasons, probably not, but we can ask. We can ask. There, the only no's you get are the ones you're told.
Also, I'd love to play a show in a semi at some point.
Okay.
In the back of a semi, just pull up some random place, build an entire like.
Now that's definitely been done before, but I can't
yes.
tell you by who. But that would still be fun. But the barge would be interesting. Who would you have play the barge show with you?
I've been hanging out with this punk band called Riot Cop a lot recently. And so, like, I feel like they're the people who seem like they'd actually be able to, like, help me get access to a barge.
Fair.
And, like, I know that they'd also be super excited about, like, that idea. So maybe them, but, like, who knows?
All right. Hell yeah.
We'll see when it happens, and I'm going to make this happen.
Yes. Now, as the last hypothetical question, if you had to pick a different genre other than the music you currently perform, what would it be?
Okay, so yeah, I don't know. Right now I make boom bap rap, some trap. I make shoegaze sometimes, ambient, like more like beat driven, like electronic music, trip hop. I've dabbled in some jazz. I've made a bit of classical. So I feel like I've covered my bases for a lot of stuff. I definitely want to do an acoustic album at some point with just no production, just like guitar, as shittily recorded as possible.
Yes, in true acoustic form. No, I'm kidding.
Like I want to make some neutral Milk Hotel microphones type shit.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, that'd be cool.
It's got to have some whistling on there.
Yes, and it's got to be like you just have to have a friend who's good at whistling. You can't like you can't like synth that in. Yeah, no, there's no MIDI whistling. That's got to be real shit. All right, let's go ahead and start wrapping this up. What big events do you have coming up? Mid to late June and onwards.
I am attempting to throw a music festival. I don't know if this is actually going to happen.
Okay,
but I've got a connection to a big property out in Vernonia that has it's like a big campground with a giant barn with electricity, and they run events there, and they're like weird pagan temples on this property, and they've like outside showers, and it's super nice. And I'm in contact with them, and I might be able to book their space for 2 days.
Nice.
For like a music festival, have everyone like go out to Vernonia, bring out like 20 acts, have people camp out there. So that's what I really want to do. But let's see if that actually happens.
That sounds cool. When are you thinking of doing that?
Well, I mean, I kept telling myself this summer, but it's basically summer.
Yeah,
so
it hasn't started yet, though.
So, I don't know. My goal would be the next 3 months.
Okay.
So I'm trying to fast track it, but...
Hell yeah. And how can people connect to you? What's your all your ats and your links and such like that?
Falling Alice on pretty much everything. Instagram is Falling Alice _. YouTube, Falling Alice. YouTube's got like all my filmmaking, and yeah, I like my YouTube channel a lot. That's a good place to go. Also, just Instagram. It's a nice like hub for everything.
Hell yeah. And then any big shout outs or plugs you want to do while you're on here?
Nah, not really. But
All right.
like, just I don't know. Like, we out here. I'm glad that I was on. Like, yeah.
Perfect. All right, y'all. Then we're going to wrap it up with the last question. This is a big one. This is a fun one. What is your guilty pleasure song?
Oh boy. Oh, I need a good answer for this shit. Who do I like? Who I hate that I like? A guilty pleasure song, not from myself, from somebody else, right?
So technically, the question is just a song that you like. That you're like, oh, you caught me listening to it, but you can't stop vibing. But if it's one of your own, that's totally fine.
I like the album Miley Cyrus and Her Dead Pets a lot. Everyone hates that I like that album. It's Miley's like weird psych album.
Yeah. Well, hey,
Some of it's painful. It's like Miley Cyrus collaborating with the Flaming Lips to make this weird, trippy album that's like kind of disgusting, but like also like.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm not laughing at you. Mike's over here being a goof.
Oh, I know.
That is definitely one of the more unique guilty pleasure I guess guilty pleasure albums.
Everyone hates me for liking it, but like at the time I was supporting it, and still to this day I'm like, I hear tracks off that album and I'm like, I like this album. This is good.
Well, hey, as long as you like it, that's all that matters. That's what music is, folks.
I think I just crapped in my soul after I.
All right, Mike, we're gonna go ahead. Or no, Mike, Alice. All right. We're going to go ahead and start wrapping things up. I'm going to cut over to here. Y'all, this has been another exciting episode of Jimmy's Jambox. I'm Jimmy.
This is Falling Alice.
Signing off.